Welcome everyone to It Tastes Different Gaming Podcast with four different flavors coming from four different gamers. I am your host Shane Eisterhold, and I'd like to welcome my co-host Nick Irwin, Patrick Smith, and Russell Rowe.
Hey, Patrick, where can they find us?
Well, the first place you should check out is our website at ittastes.different.com. This is the place where you can subscribe to all of our streams and connect to all of our social media sites. You can also find us on Facebook at It Tastes Different. We're also on Instagram at It Tastes Different PC. And then last but not least is Twitter, where you can find us at It Tastes Diff.
What's for dessert? We wait for the cookies to bake with our most anticipated games of 2021. Today we're going to discuss our most anticipated games of 2021. And we're just going to go around the room here and see what everybody's wanting and waiting for and what they're excited about. So let's start off with Patrick, because I'm pretty sure his list is bigger than the rest of us.
It's always bigger.
Yeah, your list.
So I will just start with one game. I don't want to go through a whole list. So we can just kind of go round robin if you guys want, or just kind of reminisce about that. But I'll tell you what my...
I want to guess. I know what you're... No, I'll let you do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to
we all know a few of his.
No, you probably know what my top one is.
Yes,
everybody probably knows what that one is. And my top most anticipated game means that I have to find something that doesn't exist. I have to find a PS5 for Horizon Forbidden West.
Russ was right.
Yeah, so
everybody was right.
That's my most anticipated game of 2021. But I have to find that non-existent unicorn that doesn't exist yet, that I haven't been able to find.
The Loch Ness monster of consoles.
Right. It doesn't exist yet, so I have to find that. And definitely it's just... And I'll be honest with you, my anticipation is just because of the previous game. I have not looked at jack for this game, but I love the original so much that this game, it's going to have to do a lot to crap on it, but it could. So, I mean, it's a highly anticipated game for me. That's kind of my most anticipated. Russ, what's your most anticipated for this year?
So I will be coming to your house to steal that thing that doesn't exist so that I can play God of War Ragnarok. I'm like you two. I'm waiting for Horizon. Horizon's a big title this year for me as well. But that God of War looks very, very interesting. Don't really know much about it either. I'm doing the same thing that you're doing with Horizon Dawn. I'm going off how much I enjoyed the last God of War, and I'm really excited, especially with the new gen stuff that could possibly be coming along with it. I hate to admit it because we all are, we're Xbox leaners. We don't go for either console over the other, but we kind of lean towards Xbox. And so it's kind of ironic that the first two titles out of our mouths are from a console that does not yet exist in our lives. But Nick, what about you, man? What you got that you're anticipating?
Well, I'm going to put this out there. God of War and Horizon are definitely ones I'm anticipating as well. But I don't know if they'll come out this year. I hope so. And I think they're slated to, but we don't know for sure. So one game that I do know for sure that probably will come out this year that I'm anticipating is Back 4 Blood.
I was going to say that too.
Yep.
I completely agree. There's other games I'm definitely really excited for, and even on that, same realm of excitement. But I agree with you, Nick. That's my most anticipated because that game screams what we want.
Well, that game's actually got a release date. It's got a June 22nd.
June,
the other two are
right.
TBD 2021 is what the other two are. So,
right.
I guess there is a chance.
And I anticipate those. I'm looking forward to Horizon. I'm looking forward to God of War. But one game I know is more than likely going to come out this year that I'm anticipating. So I'm picking a game that I know is probably 99% sure that's going to come out this year is Back 4 Blood, and I'm excited to play that. So that's my anticipated game of this year. One of mine, I should say.
I think that's one of our most anticipated as a group because of the co-op within it.
Yep. And like I was saying, I agree with Nick. That is my most anticipated for what you just said, Russ. That cooperative, us running around and just doing what we do best, being stupid and killing zombies. And, it's nice to see a 4-player co-op game, not 3, not 2, but 4.
Right. Yeah. Those 3 players keep popping up from time to time. It's like too many game developers have that odd third wheel friend.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It seems that way. But for one that I don't know that's coming out this year, but I hope it is Elden Ring. That's my second most anticipated game of this year. I think it is slated for this year. So I'm hoping to see more, and I'm hoping this game comes out this year as Elden Ring.
So
now let me ask you this: why are you choosing Elden Ring? Because there's really all we've seen is a very small snippet CG trailer. Is it just because you know the developers? I mean, what you
exactly?
For it?
It's from Software. They make Dark Souls. They make all those games that I enjoy. Demon Souls, Dark Souls. So. And whatever other games. I know they made other games, but I can't think of them at the moment. But Dark Souls, for sure. Elden Ring. Yeah, that's the reason why. And they teamed up in this one with J.J.R. Martin, who does Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. So it's going to be really interesting to see
who did you just say?
Story. J.J.R. Martin?
You mean George
R. Martin?
You mean
who does?
George R. Martin. Sorry. Yeah. I mixed two people. He
doesn't do Lord of the Rings.
I mixed two people up.
He has 2 people.
George R. Martin.
I put the series.
Star Wars and the Lord of the Rings person together. George R. Martin together with this game. So I'm excited to see what comes out from this. No, that was my mistake. Sorry. My mistake. I mixed two people. I mixed the Star Wars and I mixed the Lord of the Rings together. Wait,
he's not Lord of the Rings.
It's not Lord of the Rings.
Game of Thrones. My God, Game of Thrones. Jesus Christ. No.
Russ is over there.
Hold on.
George R. Martin is Game of Thrones.
I'm sorry. Man.
Oh man.
Basically,
you just lost some points off nerd card.
He did the novels. A Song of
Ice and Fire. No, George R. Martin. Okay, so it's the Lord of the Rings guy. Whatever.
No, he's not Lord of the Rings guy.
No, I mean,
George R. Martin had nothing to do with Lord of the Rings.
Game of Thrones guy.
Lord of the Rings.
Game of Thrones guy. Sorry. Okay. Jesus. Right,
dear nerds.
Just go on.
We're so very sorry for these last 3 minutes.
I was going to say
some points off his card.
Nick lost some of his gamer score from that. He has to divide it up amongst his friends for that.
We should have pushed it just a little bit more because Shane was so close to whistling. Yeah. So close. We were almost there, guys.
We almost got
disappointed.
We almost got the Papa Shane teapot was done.
Yep.
I'm glad you guys appreciate my COPD.
So let's keep going.
I would say Elden Ring is definitely an interesting looking game. I saw that too, and it was listed somewhere. It wasn't listed in my top, but it was listed under the anticipated games. But yeah, I mean, we saw some of it last year, or even the year before at E3 in 2019. We saw that announcement trailer for them.
Yep.
But they've been in development since 2017, I think. So it's been in development for a few years, and who knows when it's going to come out. So Shane, what about
a 23 game probably?
Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Shane, what about you? What was on your most anticipated game of the year?
Honestly, Back 4 Blood. It was really my tippy top because of the co-op. Because it's it's the guys who made Lord of the Rings and. No, it's the guys made Left 4 Dead, and I mean, me and Nick when we first met, geez, I couldn't tell you how many hours we poured into that thing, the first 2, and it's a great game. So
Rainbow
hopefully,
Six and Left 4 Dead we played a bunch of.
Sure. But one that is also on my radar that I'm really excited about is It Takes Two. It's the one where the husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend, I can't remember which, they get turned into claymation characters, and they have to work together to get through these situations. And it's the same guys who made A Way Out, that prison escape
break
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that game was so good. Great story, great co-op, great everything about it. I mean, I loved it to death. Heck, even me and Nick's boys are, playing it together. They were both dying laughing during the shower scene. God dang, that was funny. But it was a great game, and I'm really looking forward to it because this game is designed for co-op. And I love the ideal of that if they do a good job like they did with the last one. And the story looked interesting. The art style they went with is completely different than A Way Out. And I'm really excited about that. I truly am.
Yeah, Rest was too much of a prude for us to finish A Way Out. We never got to play that one all the way through.
I didn't put this one on my list, but if it's the same co-op style as A Way Out, I'm definitely excited for it. Because A Way Out, I agree, Shane. Besides, that reminded me of the days of playing like Kane and Lynch and Army 2 with me and you. That was one of the games that we played all the time because they were 2-player co-ops. And A Way Out was that, when we played that. So I'm hoping this game, even though it wasn't on my list as an anticipated, I really do hope that it comes out to be that something like that, and where we can enjoy a 2-player co-op game like that.
I might have to find a new battle buddy for that one because mine didn't like to stay in the foxhole with me.
I don't even remember. I don't even remember the way out.
That was the one where basically you're both are playing 2 different characters, but your story's going on at the same time, and you have to do things together to kind of escape out of prison. And one of the scenes where we got stuck on was where one of you were behind the guard, and you had to distract the guard while the other one ran by, and I think you died a couple of times, or you got caught a couple of times, and you were done.
I think me and Shane played it twice.
I swear it didn't.
Yeah, we did. We played through it, at least twice.
Moving.
What's that,
Was it
Russ?
when we were moving?
No.
Are you sure it wasn't we were moving?
It came out in 2018, dude. It's been out for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember hating it.
We own it. We have this game.
Well, we might have to go back and revisit because I don't I don't remember hating it that much. I mean, unless I was getting frustrated because of something ridiculous, who knows? But no, man. I mean, I'm excited about the game too that Shane just talked about. I at first we kind of watched it and it was like, okay, this is kind of dumb. But then a little bit of research afterwards, a little bit watching more of what the gameplay is, I'd be all over it. I mean, that looks like a lot of fun. I mean, I just, I look forward to that game as well. I mean, this season coming out this year, I think we've got quite a few. We were really excited. I can't remember which game awards or at least announcements that we were watching. There was quite a few games that were coming out that were co-op, and I mean that's exciting for us because it seemed for a year where everybody spent inside, we had to stay inside and work from home. There wasn't very many co-op games that really came out.
Yeah. We ended up sticking a lot to our classic Rainbow Six Siege, and then now we've got a newer co-op game that we're all playing quite a bit of. So,
yep, yeah. And if you guys haven't played it yet, Killing Floor 2, we got it on sale, and it was it's a blast. It's one of those games you just get in, enjoy, have fun, don't take serious. It's just stupid fun.
It reminds me of Serious Sam and LAN parties.
Except for fun, because I never liked Serious Sam. I never could get into it.
Oh my gosh, I love that dang game. We would scream the whole time.
What about you, Russ? What else is on your list?
So in the, keeping with the spirit of co-op games, I know there's not a hard release date for this game, but I am looking forward to Gotham Knights. That comes
Good
from
pick. I forgot about it.
Gotham Knights is a world where Batman is dead, and basically you're playing, I think it's Batgirl, the Red Hood, Nightwing, and Robin. So it looks pretty interesting. We don't know much about it, but if it comes out and it's an action series game, an action RPG of some sorts for 4-player co-op, I think that's going to be a win for us as a group. So I'm definitely excited about that.
That one was on my list too, and I'm hoping because we saw 4 characters, it'll be 4-player co-op.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that, Russ. I'm glad you brought that up. because that one definitely looked interesting. And if it's anything, if it controls anything like the Batman games, I'm in.
It looked like a lot of synergy moves with your teammates, which was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I mean, if you guys want to stick with some cooperative games, another one I still would look a little more into, but did look real interesting was that Hood game, Hood Outlaws and something, Outlaws and Legends.
We looked at that one because we saw that one during the
Game Awards.
During the Game Awards, yeah. Yeah, I think that one's slated for sometime this year as well. I think they basically set up TBD 2021. And that one looked interesting. I think, but it was only 3-player co-op. I think for what we saw, right?
No, there's 4 characters, but it might be 3-player only.
I don't know, but it looked cool.
No, 5-player. It's 5-player co-op.
Well, then there we go.
And it comes out May 6th.
May 6th.
Scheduled.
I was going to say, I didn't think that they had a release date yet to that one. But that's a good one. That I would say as well.
I have a confirmed May 10th release date. Pre-order is up right now for that game.
So it might be one.
Or which one? Hood?
Yes. May 10th.
Okay, cool. I'm surprised that nobody has said this one, especially in this group, in my opinion. But, I'm really hoping that the Halo Infinite comes out this year.
Yeah, I really thought Shane was going to say that. It's on my list, but
I'll be honest, it is on my list, but the last 2 kind of burnt me. They weren't bad. Don't get me wrong; they were not bad games at all. The multiplayer is always fun on them, even though I get my butt whooped on them. But the last 2, far as story goes, has burnt me a little bit, and I didn't care for the story stuff. The fun is in the co-op, blah blah blah. But I do got a lot of hope for this one. I'm hoping they go kind of old school with that Halo 1 vibe, with what they're showing now. But yeah, it's definitely on my list of anticipation. But I just don't know how to feel about it, especially with the trailer that they gave us with the Xbox Series X showcase they did. And Bruce
I
the
really
Grunt,
honestly,
or whatever the hell his name.
I really honestly think that's why they pushed it. Too many player backlash.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I will take a late game. I'll take a game late as hell as long as the game is good as hell. Unlike Cyberpunk, it should have been pushed back. And I'm glad they pushed back Halo, and I'm glad they brought back some of the old school people from Bungie. And we'll just have to see what happens with it. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for it.
Right. So, Nick, what else on your list?
One of them that's coming out relatively soon, that I'll go ahead and talk about, is the Medium.
Yep, on my list.
Yep, Medium is coming out toward the end of this month, and that one looks really good. It's kind of like Silent Hill-ish. I think it's made by the same people that made the Blair Witch game that was pretty good. It came out not too long ago, or a few months ago or so, last year. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the Medium. This comes out toward the end of this year, or in this month, I mean. And so I'm looking forward to playing that one.
That'll probably be on our review list, probably. Yeah, it's the end of January, I imagine. But yeah, it's another one of those horror games, so we'll see. We'll see how that comes out. But yeah, they're made by Bloober Team. What a name!
Yeah, I love that name.
Bloober.
What about you, team. Pat? What else is on your list?
To be honest, I had a couple co-op games that I really was hoping. Outriders is coming out in February. I really had high hopes, but I think that one
is it 3-player.
I think it's 3-player. That was our downfall. That was going to say Outriders. I think is only 3-player co-op, so it'll be interesting. We may have to do a little swap off and play type stuff, but that one's coming out sometime in February. I think last I saw on that one. But I like co-op games, but that's the problem is all of our co-op games are unfortunately not 4 players.
Yep. And what's funny is Outriders has 4 unique classes.
Right.
And yet it's a 3-player game. Do your math. It don't work right. Should
right.
be 4-player.
Yeah, so I mean that's one. And then I will put another one on here that is not my style, but it's a co-op game, and I really want to try it with my friends. And it's Outlast Trials. It's by the same group that makes all the other Outlast games, but this one's a co-op multiplayer game. I don't know if you guys have looked into that one.
No. Outlast Trials.
Yeah, it's gonna be a co-op based game from what I read, and so I was like, we have a tendency to have fun in those horror based co-op multiplayer games. So this one was one of the ones I saw that I was like, oh, this one might be pretty interesting for us to get in.
It's just because it's funny to watch your buddy crap himself out of fear.
Right. Yeah. So now we just got to see. It's sometime in 2021, but it'll be interesting. And I mean, we have fun with some of these horror based games,
Yeah. Phasmophobia was a really fun one.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. I've not gotten enough information on it to say it's completely on the list, but it is something that intrigued me because of the co-op.
Yep.
Nick, what about you? Got anything else on your list, man?
Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to, which I think is coming out in the next couple months, is Nier Replicant, the new Nier game.
Yeah.
Looking forward to playing that one.
That one's going to be interesting. It's getting pretty hyped up too. What Nier Replicant is. So
yeah.
Hopefully it comes. Yeah, it's coming out in April, I think, isn't it? Or no.
No.
When is? Yeah, I thought that one was
coming
out
April.
I don't know.
I thought it was April.
It might be different. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, because I thought that because it's got a weird title to it. It's like Nier Replicant.
April 23rd. Nier Replicant version 1.22474487139.
Yeah.
Gotta need a breathalyzer on that one.
That's what I thought.
That one does look cool.
Coming out in April. So that one looks really good. I love the first Nier, and I love the second Nier Automata or Automata or whatever they call it. So I'm definitely looking forward to this one.
Yep, Nier, that's a good one. I figured that one was on your list for sure because you love that one. So the Nier Replicant, I figured would definitely be on Nick's list. Cool. Yep. I mean, there's a huge list of decent games coming out this year, so I think we'll not have an issue with games to review. It's just when are they going to come out? Are we going to end up with like a last quarter of the year with like 10 major titles dropping? Because a lot of these are just TBD 2021, or does that mean 2021's in for a big slog of pushes into 2022?
You're going to see a lot of pushes to 2022 this year. I mean, we still got a lot of COVID crap going on. We're still having issues around the world, but I'd say a lot of these TBDs that were freshly announced, they'll be a while. But that's okay as long as we have at least a couple decent games a month. I mean, I'm more than happy. And with Game Pass, there's always something for us to find.
Right. Cool. Russ, what else you got on your list, man?
So, going back to PS5, again, another date that's just got the initial release date of the 2021. I think I'm going to make a return to a series that I played a lot of. And I think I'm going to get back into Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo 7's coming out. It's been a couple of versions of that since I've played. I just remember kind of like the initial Gran Turismos of the new consoles when we had the 3 come out, we had the 4 come out. Gran Turismo almost always had kind of a new title with those. I'd like to see what this game has to offer in the future. I'm going to play it. It'll be one of those where I'm always going to play like a race or two when I come home from work or something like that. But I think I'm going to get back into it. It was always one of my favorite driving series. I think it was one of the more realistic, they always had a lot more cars than a lot of other places. So, I'll probably watch some Grand Tour or something like that to kind of prep for it, just so I can know what cars are out there, especially the high ends, and check it out. I mean, that's just for me though. I know as a whole for this group that racing games, when it comes to simulation games, is not necessarily this group is not very fond of them. But as for me, I think I'm going to give it a shot this year.
It's one of those games I can jump in and try to play a little bit, but it's just too real for me. Unless I had a really killer wheel pedal setup, it's hard for me to play something that realistic. I drive like crap anyways.
I will say this one was, it is one of the few racing games I do enjoy. It had a lot of I don't know what you would call them because in some of the original ones you could change out engines and tires and stuff like that. So it's kind of an interesting concept of it's almost like a RPG for racing fans, if you will,
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Because it's basically I'm going to change the stats of my car and look at the peak power curvatures and stuff like that if I put in these headers or this exhaust or this or that, So definitely was kind of a cool game, and obviously if Retz gets it, I'm going to try it. So
and that's pretty much it'll be on the game share. So yeah, that one is definitely one. And then I did want to make mention. I know I'm kind of going out of turn here, but I did want to mention because I'm curious because I remember us kind of whispering about it, but I'm curious to see what Hogwarts Legacy is going to be like. I don't know if it's anticipated or like intrigued. Like, is it going to be kind of like kid version, or is it going to be, a little bit more for gamers?
Well, all I know is I want to be Hermione.
And enter the old man.
Yeah. I will say that it looked interesting. I will admit, because I saw that too. I saw that one was coming out sometime this year as well. It's another one of those 2021 TBD games. It looks interesting. I will say it's kind of an interesting. I've not been a fan of most of the Harry Potter games that came out. I just didn't care for them. I tried them. But this one's supposed to be like an open world style type game. So that might be just what this genre needs to make it appeal to the masses a little bit. So I think it might be interesting, and I'm looking forward to trying it as well.
Yeah, I would definitely give it a try. It's the Harry Potter thing was never really my thing. My kids enjoyed it, but to me, Harry Potter was like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I couldn't understand a damn word anybody was saying.
But yeah, he knows the characters.
I don't. I know Hermione.
And you said her name right. It's not like you call her Hermaphrodite or something,
Well, no, she was on the Phoenix Rising game.
Oh my gosh!
But no, I just never a Harry Potter person. Oh, well, hell, everybody knows Harry Potter and Hermione and the redhead kid.
The Weasleys.
Yeah, what you said. But those are just never my thing. But it does look interesting. Though. Definitely something I would give a try.
What else, Shane? What do you got for us?
I'm gonna have to throw Resident Evil 8: The Village in there because it's just screaming Resident Evil 4 vibes, and I love Resident Evil 4. I still got to beat 7 though. I've got to get time to go in there and just freaking beat it because it took me forever to get through 2 and 3, and I've had 7 since it came out. So, but I'm really loving what I'm seeing with it, and I'm hoping they don't choke. That's really what it comes to. Is with Resident Evil is don't choke. Resident Evil 2 was fantastic. The remake, Resident Evil 3 was it was good, but it was more of a DLC for 2 than anything the way they set it up. But I'm really excited for Resident Evil 8.
Right, because Resident Evil 8 it's a remake, right?
No, 8's a brand new game. Essentially, the way 8 looks, it's going to be more akin to 4, which was a little more exploratory, far as a Resident Evil game goes. With you're in an actual village. So kind of like when you first start on 5, you walk into that big village area. You got a few pathways you can go and choose. So it looks interesting. But no, it's definitely not a sequel.
Okay, it was a sequel to 7. I thought it was a remake for some reason. I thought they'd already made a Resident Evil 8.
Because they've been dumping remakes, which is fine. They've done a fantastic job with 2. If you haven't played 2, play 2. 3, you can play and it's enjoyable enough, and it's but I wouldn't go out of my way for 3.
Cool. Yep, that's definitely a good one, and I'm looking forward to that one as well. Nick, what do you got for us?
Resident Evil is definitely on my list, so that's one I had on my list. Another one is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. I love Vampire the Masquerade 1, and so I am excited to play 2. I hope it lives up to 1. It's been a long time since they put the first one out, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping it lives up to how the first one was, and this is just the ultimate better addition with storyline and various things. So I'm hoping Vampire the Masquerade 2, Bloodlines 2 is just what we had with 1, but supremely better. So I'm looking forward to that game. I don't I don't know if that game has a release date for 2021, but it's slated for 2021.
Yeah, it's just TBD 2021 right now as well.
So I'm hoping that one comes out.
I will say I was not a fan of Vampire the Masquerade.
Really? That's kind of surprising.
I was not a fan of it. So, I mean, I'd definitely give 2 a shot. I didn't hate it. It just never grabbed my attention.
Is that one of those button mashing games? I'm trying to remember that game.
No, it's an open RPG like, I don't know, like Skyrim and various games like that, but it's with vampires and set in the modern age and stuff like that.
I mean, the original one is super old too, isn't it? Like in the early 2000s or something.
Yeah, early 2000s. I think like 2004 or something like that.
Yeah. I knew it was like 15, 16 years old.
You can usually pick it up for really cheap anywhere now. I mean, it's always got really good reviews. I just couldn't get into the game. So that was just fine.
I really loved it back in the day, so I'm really hoping for the number 2 to be just as good, or if better.
Right. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. One of the games that's on my list, that's probably not on a lot of other people's lists, is I'm anticipating Humankind. It's going to be a PC-based game. It's like a 4X strategy game of development of human. Basically, you take control of like a human band of settlers and run them through the ages type stuff. And that one's supposed to be sometime this year. I think it's in April is what they're slating, somewhere around there. It's on my type of game list. It's a 4X strategy game for PC sometime this year. But that's my kind of game, though. I like strategy games and 4X style games and stuff like that. I think it's made by who does this one? Is it the same people who do what's the space civilization game that we play a lot, Russ?
Are you Space Simulation?
Endless Space.
Yeah, 1 and 2. Yeah, you're right. I was like, which one?
Yeah. This one, Humankind is Amplitude.
Yeah, Amplitude Studios. Yep. So
I almost some of this. I don't know. Like, it's kind of there and kind of not. It's like the Humankind thing. I don't know. It just depends on 4X strategies. I love them as well, but it's kind of hit or miss with those types. There's a lot to them, and if they do it right, it works well, and if they don't, it just fumbles. So,
right,
it's one of those ones where I'm like, we'll see how it turns out.
Right, it's a PC only game. Well, it's gonna be a PC, a Mac, Windows and Mac, and Stadia, obviously. So it'll be. I want to check it out because it's been a while since I had a good 4X or grand strategy game that just really sucked me in. That was a true strategy game and not something like Crusader Kings.
Oh yeah.
Russ Shane already forgot about what Crusader Kings was.
Oh no, I remember that one quite well. I mean, but the difference is like, I mean, now that you say that that's the studio that made it, I mean, Endless Space, both of these guys would probably not know that I actually do enjoy that game. I did enjoy that strategy game quite a bit. I mean, 2 was quite a bit more entailed and difficult. I mean, I'm still learning more and more about that game every time I play it. But since it's the same studio, I may look at that a little bit. I don't know how much I'll play, but I'll definitely look at it.
I mean, we played a lot of grand strategy in our days. I remember plenty of times where me, you, and Fish would just play Rise of Nations or the other game, all day long.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not a stranger to that stuff, but and sticking in that kind of like not on the radar or maybe forgot on the radar, like I'm kind of curious. This is more of a question for you guys because you guys have looked at it a lot more than I had. What about New World? Isn't that releasing this year?
Yes.
Yeah, it keeps going back and forth. So, spoiler alert, I played a little bit of New World. And I played it during the alpha or beta or something like that. It's Albion, but in third person. Or in,
Right.
yeah, third person.
It's that same concept of an MMO.
It's a sandbox MMO. Yeah. So if you like sandbox MMOs, which I personally...
I'm a theme park MMO.
I'm a theme park MMO guy. I don't care for sandbox MMOs. I can't get into them. I've tried. I've played several, and it's just not the genre I can get into. And New Worlds, unfortunately, is a sandbox, and so it follows the line as all sandboxes do. And so it's not one that it was on my radar until I figured out it was a sandbox and I played it. And yeah, it's definitely a sandbox, so it's off my radar now.
Yeah, and that game keeps getting pushed back because it was slated to come out May of last year, and then got pushed to August, and then now we just don't even have a date. It's just TBD sometime this year.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of TBDs this year, though.
Yep.
So
I would be surprised if New World didn't come out this year. I mean, it's supposed to come out like last year, the year before last.
Yep.
So,
it's saying spring of this year. They've got it at least narrowed down to spring of this year. They don't have a date.
They
but
did that last year, though, too.
Right. And they actually gave release dates.
Last year.
Yeah, May and August of last year is when they were set release dates, and it just never came out.
They keep pushing it. So, I mean, the game, when I played the beta, the game seemed pretty well done. So, I don't see why they couldn't push it out. I mean, if they really want to, they could push it out early access and let people, play around with it, and they could just fix it up till they decide that it's going to be released.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Shane, you got anything else on your list, man?
Yes. I have lots on my list. I have Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
I mean, that's
don't really
not even
know.
Slated, yeah.
It's 2021-ish, which won't ever happen. I know that, but it was still slated for 2021.
Oh, well, I think when
when the trailer released, I think is what it said.
Oh, the trailer released, they said they were just starting development on it. I don't think that one's even slated for 2022.
No, pretty sure. Well, I'd have to go back and double check, but it's on my list, and I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, it's an anticipated game. I would agree. It looks like a good game.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you get to play the bad guy, you get to kill Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman.
Evil. Yeah, say evil.
Yeah.
Because you're not.
Oh well, evil.
You get to
I
kill
mean, evil's a state of mind.
What's that?
Do what?
Was that one by Respawn?
It's the Rocksteady Studios.
No, that's Rocksteady.
Oh, Rocksteady. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, Rocksteady.
Yeah, it was, and then Warner Brothers Studios is doing the Arkham one, isn't it? Or
Yeah,
not
Gotham
Arkham,
Knights.
Gotham Knights. Yeah.
And Gotham Knights does have a 2021 TBD date. Yeah, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League says 2022, but it's just an initial.
Yep, right there. I found it. Yeah.
But I mean, still, it's the most anticipated game that we know about.
Yeah. I mean, I really like the idea of that game. I truly do.
Yeah. Something that I was looking forward to is, I don't know if you guys have heard of the Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yes, that's Bethesda, isn't that?
Tango game. Yeah, Bethesda was publisher.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see that one. I want it to be TBD sometime this year, and all the images and video clips that I've seen of it. I want to try it. It looks pretty cool.
For Ghostwire, I almost put Ghostwire on my list. And the reason why I didn't is because of the first gameplay trailer they showed last year. Because when they first showed Ghostwire, they showed like a CG trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was a different game. I thought it was like a survival horror type game.
Okay.
But from the last E3 trailer, it seems like more of an action.
It's an action adventure game.
Right, action adventure horror type game, because you have horror aspects, but it's more action adventure. And so that's really what took it off my list, because I thought it was something different than what it's going to be.
Okay, interesting. Russ, you got something else on your list, man?
I'm really hoping this year, this release around, and hopefully again, this is another TBD 2021. I'm hoping that as a whole we can give this one a little bit more of a try than we did the last one. But Warhammer 4000 Darktide, I'm looking forward to that game. I don't know if it's anticipating or just kind of excitement. I hope we can give that one a little bit more try than we did with Vermintide. Although we did play a little bit of that. I actually really liked Vermintide. We just didn't keep pushing through it as much as we do other games. But I am kind of anticipating that one a little bit. That would be. I'm hoping that comes out pretty well for us as a good co-op game.
I liked Vermintide.
Well,
I did.
I think we all enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and
I
Fat
like
Shark
Vermintide.
is a group that put that out too. And I like Vermintide as well. We just don't play
so
it very often.
I'm looking forward to Dark Side. I didn't put it on my list, but I definitely am looking forward to it. If it's more like Vermintide but better, I think. Which I didn't have a problem with Vermintide. I liked Vermintide. I thought it was a fun game.
Well, and just so you know, the same developer did like War of the Roses. Nick, did you like that type of game?
War of the Roses. I don't remember.
War of the Roses is like the medieval combat style game, the medieval game where basically you, how do I put it? It's a medieval simulator. You battle. It's a big giant battle game where people are in suits of armor and swords and shields do battle in a giant arena.
Reminds me of Kingdom Under Fire.
Yes, exactly. Same thing. Yep, I would play that one because I like Vermintide. So yeah, Russ, that's a good pick. I don't know about you guys, but I would like to, Metroid Prime 4 is TBD for this year.
It's been TBD for 20 years.
Yeah, good
Prime
luck
4.
seeing that game.
Yeah.
I mean, it keeps on, every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's TBD this year. But, they keep on saying every year it's going to be this year. But I actually saw some stuff when it was listed in a bunch of other group games because this year we're also supposed to get Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah, and I didn't.
I'm
put
not
that
too
on my
excited
list
about
either.
that one.
Yeah,
I liked the Breath of the Wild, the original one. I mean, it was a good game, but it did get repetitive and boring. What I would say, but I'd rather play the Metroid Prime 4 if it came out.
Oh yeah, I'd rather play Metroid Prime 4. I mean, Breath of the Wild, I liked the game, I did, but I'd rather play a traditional Zelda than that. So that's why I'm not really, anticipating or looking forward to Breath of the Wild 2, because I'd rather play an Ocarina of Time 2 or a Link to the Past or a Link Between Worlds or any of those. I'd rather play one of those than the Breath of the Wild. The Breath of the Wild, to me, in my personal opinion, is the is the worst of the Zelda series. I didn't really, as far as Zelda goes, I love them all, and Breath of the Wild I love too. But Breath of the Wild is probably one I love the least compared to the rest of the series. I love the rest of the series a lot more better than Breath of the Wild.
I would put the Wind Walker in that one for me.
Oh, I love Wind Waker.
Wind Waker?
Like towards my top. I love Wind Waker.
It's one of my least favorites.
Really?
Yeah.
It's almost number one.
I don't like, and I'm going to tell you right now, the art style is what gets me.
style.
I don't like, in my opinion, the character doesn't look like he belongs in the world. He looks like he's pasted into the world, and I hate that. I hate that construction papery look where the character doesn't look like he belongs in the world. Like they designed the world.
I'll play Link Between Worlds then.
Right. But then they pasted the character in there, and I'm like, he doesn't belong. It looks awkward. It plays awkward. It's a psychological thing to me more than anything. So I couldn't get past that, so I couldn't play it.
Yeah. Wind Waker
I
is one
agree
of my
with
favorites. It's one of my top favorites of the Zelda series.
No, I like the game, but I had to agree with Pat though. I didn't care for the art style. It was just I don't know. I don't want to say it was a misstep, but it just seemed like a really bad choice.
It looked like somebody took Roblox and created a game out of Roblox and spit
Well, you
it
got to
out.
think about it though too.
But with better
The
graphics.
time that Wind Waker came out, that was the time where a lot of those cell shitty games came out.
Yeah.
There was that time frame where like every game was cell shaded. and Wind Waker was just one of them. Along with a series of games that just came out all cell shaded. We've kind of gone away from that. I'm kind of surprised that the gaming market has kind of gotten away from cell shaded games.
What was that one game that kind of started that? There was one game that was like, wow, everybody was like,
13?
cool. 13, yeah. And the game sucked. I just did not like that game at all. But yeah, I could definitely do without the cell shading. Now, there was Fear Effect. Now, they did it right. That was a fantastic game and good looking game for the day. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
Yeah, Fear Effect, yeah. Fear Effect 1 and 2. And then they came out with a new one, which sucks, but...
of course they did. They had to screw it up.
So, Nick, what else you got on your list, man?
So I have one that I'm looking forward to, which is coming out relatively soon, is Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection.
I knew that was going to be on your list.
I love Ghosts and Goblins, and this one is coming out on the Switch. I believe it's free to play. I'm pretty sure. It comes out next month in February, and it's pretty much, I think it's the first game, Ghosts and Goblins on the, I think just the original game that was on the, or it's the Super Nintendo one, or it's the Nintendo one, I can't remember, version of the game, because they were all Ghosts and Goblins, but they were different in level design and stuff. But yeah, this is another Ghosts and Goblins. It's a remake of one of the original games, and yeah, it looks really fun. It's all redone and remastered, basically, or it's really more of a remake. It's not really remastered. They're not just like updating the graphics. They're everything's 3D, and some of the levels have changed in various ways and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to playing Ghosts and Goblins again with Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, which is supposed to come out next year in February. So
I hope we're not going to review this one because I'm going to hate you.
I'm probably going to be the only one that's going to enjoy it. So
I'm not a big platformer in that aspect of the games anymore. I get frustrated with those games anymore.
I have damaged a lot of controllers with that game. And I've got the arcade, version of it, and it's not bad. It's just so damn difficult. I don't know if games have gotten so much easier over the years, but that game is hard.
It is a hard game, and I've beaten the Nintendo one, because you had to play a game twice. You had to play through the game twice to beat it. I've beaten the Nintendo version, I've beaten the Super Nintendo version. So, right. But they are incredibly hard games.
I would say the games were harder when we were kids, just because there's quite a few things that we've grown accustomed to that don't exist back then. Like there was no such thing as the save. If you turned off the console back when you were a kid,
that was it.
You got to start over.
Right, and most games back in the day were derivative of arcade games. Arcade games were made
designed to
you
take
could
your quarters.
Put quarters in it. Right, exactly. So. And Ghosts and Goblins is it was an arcade game when it first released. So
cool. Russ, what's on your list, man? What else you got for us?
I don't know that it's on my list, but like something I was looking at a minute ago, and it popped up, and nobody has said it yet. And maybe we're just done with the series. I don't know. I mean, maybe we've just had enough of this same version of game. But Far Cry 6 comes out this year. I don't know that I'm anticipating it by any means. I mean, Far Cry 5 was good and it was okay. I mean, it was a good story. It was a lot of fun to play, but it's just, I don't know, maybe because of the repetition, maybe that open world, Ghost Recon, all that kind of like feel is just kind of getting old for us as a whole. I don't know. I don't know how they freshen up a game like that. But it is out there. I don't know if I'm anticipating it, but it is out there.
I mean, it comes out this year, and unfortunately, it's made by Ubisoft. I mean, I hate to brag on Ubisoft.
And we can anticipate it.
Yeah, I hate to rag on Ubisoft because they just have a formula and they stick to it. I mean, if you think about the majority of Ubisoft games, they are the same thing. It's open world based on a tried and true IP. I mean, you've got Assassin's Creed, you've got Far Cry, you've got all this stuff that it's just reminiscent of the same game over and over. I will probably get it. I will admit I like Far Cry. Far Cry 5 and all that stuff. Far Cry 5 was a really cool and interesting story behind all of what was going on, and then playing through the DLC on that one was pretty fun. Far Cry 6, I have not followed as closely as I normally do, but in my opinion, if you played one Ubisoft open world shooter, you played them all.
Yeah,
they're all going to be the same.
And just to throw a little defense to Ubisoft, Immortals Phoenix Rising was definitely a departure of their overall typical. I mean, you can definitely
say that.
You can feel it. You can feel a lot
game,
of. It's not near. It's not near as big.
I would disagree with that.
It's not
the same
near
game
as
with
big.
less.
It's actually got a confined story. I mean, there's a lot
of them have
differences.
It's the same thing.
No, they don't all have a confined story. The last 4 Assassin's Creed have been cool.
It's a confined story. It is a story.
No,
There's
it
a
is
story in there.
a story that needs crap, and then you got 4 million stories that go along with it because you got to go through all these damn, side missions just
Grandpa
to get
can't read. Just because Grandpa can't read doesn't mean there's a story. But it's the same game. The one thing that it has going for it that the other ones don't is it doesn't have all the meaningless collectibles, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's still is the same story in the same game that Ubisoft has brought out for years and years and years. The only difference in Immortals compared to all the other games is, they don't have the meaningless pickups like
and you can
Patrick said. It is a more condensed island, and
it's a big departure.
It's just a smaller story, right? I mean, they basically took the same thing they've done for years and they condensed it a bit. And you're like, it's revolutionary. No, it's the same thing they've done for years.
Revolutionary, that's for sure.
But a better story too. A better story as well, right? You put that on top. That game,
in my opinion, was a fairly decent, not overall departure, but it was a fairly decent change from Ubisoft. I mean, the world and everything was more refined and condensed, and it wasn't pushing you to go 4 islands away.
I guess if
take 6 hours by bus.
Control Alt Delete, then I guess that makes it condensed.
It's the same game in my opinion. If you played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the comment was even made during the review. It's Saturday morning Odyssey, or it's Odyssey Light. It's the same game. It is Odyssey with flying, and I will admit it is a shrunk down Odyssey. But yeah, I mean, so that I understand. Yeah, Russ, that's a game that we'll probably end up playing. I will admit. I'm honestly
it's only 2-player, which was kind of a bummer because we all like to play together, and that would be a great one. The co-op on the last one was 2-player.
Co-op on the last one, what?
The last Far Cry.
On Far Cry.
Far Cry. You swapped complete gears on them. Like, what Assassin's Creed has?
Well, no, you guys are talking about co-op. Far Cry.
Yeah. I mean, those games aren't really meant. We and Rush, we tried co-op, but we didn't stick to it. I don't think we played very much of it.
Well, you had beat it, and you came back and helped on a couple of missions, and I finished up on it and stuff like that. I mean, if it came to it to where we could, like, we were both free enough to play it, I mean, I think I would be up for it because I don't know. I feel burnt to hell by Far Cry. I mean, or maybe, like you say, maybe it's that Ubisoft part of it too, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not anticipating this game. I just know it's coming out, and it is a major title.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Russ. I saw this title, and and more likely we'll end up picking it up, right? That's probably the case for that. But I'm not anticipating it. Like, it's just kind of like one of those, Ubisoft's coming out with another game. Great. This is the same thing we've been playing for the last 10 years is what it feels like. But, we'll probably play it. I remember Far Cry 5. Me and Shane had a lot of fun. I remember we played that plane mission where we spent most of the time just messing around more than anything.
Well, I mean, come on. The best mission of all was when we saved the Testy Festy.
Yeah.
Yes, the Bull Testy Festy was hilarious. And that's what that game has some cool, funny stuff in it, because one of my favorite Far Cry series has to be Primal. I like Primal out of all of them the best so far.
I have yet to play it, and I do want to try it out because it does look like it could be pretty fun.
Yeah, it's got Rafiki in there, and Rafiki is hilarious because he's like the He's like the town. If it was set in the backwoods countries of the U.S., he would be your friend Billy Bob that has no teeth that said, "Look, guys, I just invented this new thing. Let me show it to you. Hold my beer." That's Rafiki in the game, and he is hilarious. Yeah, so I still remember him even to this day, and I haven't played that game in years. I got a game on my list that kind of fell off the radar for a few years, and the only reason it's still on my radar is because it's multiplayer, and that's Skull and Bones. That's supposed to come out sometime in March this year.
Oh, that's the
Ubisoft
opposite
pirate
one
game.
from we were
Ubisoft.
like the boat game.
Yeah.
This is the Ubisoft Skull and Bones game. So that's slated to sometime be in March of this year. And so I'm looking forward to that one because it's kind of like co-op pirate battles type stuff. So that one looks like it might be kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Oh, I remember it, but God, I haven't even heard the name in forever.
Right, we thought it was coming out.
Pumped about this one. Now that I think about it, we were pretty pumped about this one.
Yeah, we looked at quite a bit of this.
It away.
Yeah, it disappeared for a while, and then we never heard anything else about it. Because I think it was supposed to come out quite a while ago, and then just disappeared.
I wonder if it's going to be like a Forerunner style.
It kind of seems like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it came out. It was initially came out in E3 of 2018. So there you go.
Wow.
That's when it was. The cinematic trailer came out at E3 in 2018, and it's now 2021. So no wonder why we forgot about it.
Right, but I mean, it's going to be. It's supposed to come out in May, I think, of this year. That's what they're slating for this year. So
right.
It's
I've heard they've made a lot of changes to it, supposedly.
Right. I read that the naval battles are supposed to be really similar to like the Assassin's Creed Black Flag battles. So it might be kind of Nick's alley because you liked the Black Flag the best, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, Black Flag was my favorite.
So, it might be one of those games. But I saw that one and I was like, oh, crap, I forgot about that one. Shane, what else you got for us, man?
Well, I think the last big one on my list, Giggity, is, and it probably ain't going to be this year, most likely, but it's Final Fantasy 16.
That one on my list, too, is a far-fetched title I wish would come out this year.
Yeah, but my problem with it is we have Final Fantasy 7 Part 2, God Whenever.
Is there even a release date for that yet?
No, there's not. And then we have Final Fantasy 16. Now, 16 is it's a new Final Fantasy. And the trailer looked good, looked dark, and I really liked that, and I want that. But I also want them to finish the damn 7-2, whatever the heck
I would like
to call it.
7 Part 2 done as well. I'd like to finish that one.
So I'm torn between which one.
What's that?
It's two different development groups doing both.
Right? Yeah, but they'll end up just like they did with 7. They're going to end up pulling people from all other departments to help finish it, and that's going to slow down production. And that they did it on 7, and I'm fine with it. 7 was it was overall a good game. There's a lot I was disappointed with, but I'm really excited about that new Final Fantasy 16. I mean, the trailer for it gave me nerd bone. I mean, it was just really what I wanted to see them do with Final Fantasy, take a more twisted tone. And, they tried to do that a little bit with 15, and 15 was fantastic overall, in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't enjoy about it was the Aeons or, Guardians or whatever. I can't remember what they called them. You didn't really have any control on that. And that's one thing I want brought back. I want to be able to control my, my power-ups like that. But I'm really excited for 16. 7 won't be this year, Part 2. I pretty much guarantee that. They'll jerk it around for 3 years, charge me another $60 for, 4 hours of gameplay, 15 hours of filler.
Right. Cool. Nick, what else you got on your list, dude?
The last one I have on my list is Phantasy Star New Genesis. Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, to be exact. I love Phantasy Star Online 2, and This is supposed to be New Genesis, which is supposed to be a kind of a reimagining of the game or a reworking, newer graphics, updated graphics, pretty much a new storyline, and various things like that. So I'm glad to see a new or beloved MMO go into the new genre.
We enjoyed it when it came out on
So,
a couple
is
years ago.
Phantasy Star Online New Genesis? Is it going to be? Because I couldn't, I'd heard about this, but I didn't. I thought that this was already out.
Final
No,
Fantasy
it's not.
or
New
Fantasy Star
Genesis
2
was
is
not-
out.
Fantasy Star Online 2 is out.
Right.
Yes.
New Genesis is just an expansion for it, right?
Well, it's more than an expansion. It's a re.
So it's going to be a different shard.
It's like a Realm Reborn thing.
Okay.
So because Fantasy Star Online 2 has been out for years. Not so much in the U.S., but definitely in Japan and Asian countries, it's been out for years. In the U.S., it's only been out for a year now.
Year? Yeah, sometime last year we started.
So New Genesis is supposed to be like basically they're taking that old setup and old configuration and bringing it into the new generation with New Genesis.
Okay, cool.
So update graphics,
that,
new, like basically reworking the whole game, almost like a Realm Reborn, where they just pretty much tear the whole thing down and rebuild it brand new.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay. Russ, you got anything else in your list, man?
Well, I've got one more, and
Okay.
I mean, unfortunately, it is another, to be determined, 2021. I don't think we have a hard release date on it, but Dying Light 2. I'm ready.
I was wondering when that one was coming out. For
Yeah,
you.
I'm, that one there. I mean, it is. I like Dying Light.
We played a lot of it.
We did. We played quite a bit of that, screaming and all. I mean, it's just a fun game. The parkour's done really well in the first one, and so just high hopes for the second one. We talk about you needing a partner. I think in that one there, I'll be all up in that one. I'll be ready to go. So I'm excited about that one. That one was a lot of fun. So yeah, that's probably my last title. I did a review over my little list here, and that's probably the last title that I didn't mention, or any of us really mentioned, that I'm really, like I said, I really liked the first one. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I think I shared a video the other day of us playing, of you flying through a train and like kicking the dude in the head. It was hilarious. It was fantastic. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That one's on my list too. It was down there a ways, but yes, it's on my list because I enjoyed the first one, and the second one is, for a parkour game, I will admit I'm not a big fan of parkour games normally, but this one was a pretty fun one, and it had some interesting concept. And it's one of those ones where Russ tests my patience. He's like, "Let's go out and do this." I'm like, "It's nighttime. We ain't going outside at all." And he leaves. He's like, "I need your help." I'm like, "Crap, I don't want to go out at night." So fun game there. Nick, you got anything else left on your list?
I don't. That was the last one.
Okay. So there's a few games still left on my list that weren't brought up that I'm going to kind of just run through just to see if anybody is a fan of those. But
27 of them.
There's Stalker 2 is supposed to be coming out sometime this year. I don't know if you guys were a fan of the Stalker series, but Stalker 2 is supposed to be coming out sometime this year. I think, Nick, you were a big fan of the Stalker series, weren't you?
I am. I've never played them. But I've never played it. But I am excited to see Stalker 2 because it feels like a genre. Well, yeah, it feels like a game that I really want to play and I really want to get into. But I think the first Stalker is just, I don't know. It's been out where it's too old for me.
Too long in the tooth.
Yeah, and so I'm excited to see Stalker 2 and kind of get into the games with the second one.
Right. And then a little lesser known title that I thought was really cool looking was Jet the Far Shore. It's kind of I don't know how to explain this game. It's like a weird little storytelling game that I saw a long time ago that's supposed to come out. I think it was supposed to come out last year, and then it was pushed to holiday of 2020, and then as far as I'm aware, it never came out. And so now it's been delayed till 2021. But it kind of looked like a really interesting storytelling game, and I like one. I have one of those come up every now and then in my feed that I'm just like, I gotta check this game out, and it looks like something that may suck me in for the story. but that was kind of further down on my list. I was kind of surprised that you guys left out 4 decently top-rated games. Scorn is supposed to come out this year, and I really figured that you guys would, especially Shane and Nick, would love to torture everybody with that. It's a first-person shooter horror game.
That's what I was thinking about, but I don't know enough about it to really put it on the list, but it basically the pencil's in hand. I'm just not sure if I want to write it down, but It definitely looks interesting.
Yeah, and Nick, I think that's probably up your alley too. It's kind of like a survival horror FPS game. I think you kind of enjoy some of those stuff.
I saw Scorn, and I'm on the same boat with Shane. I just don't know enough about it. I've seen some gameplay and stuff, and it looks interesting, but until it comes out, until what it reminded me of? Until the game comes out, I really don't know.
You know what this really reminded me of? It reminded me of like Aliens, and I'm not talking like the
Prometheus.
Yes, I was just getting ready to say the Prometheus prologue to Aliens is what it reminded me of. So that's very interesting to me, and so that one, I saw that one, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Setsuna's Saga is coming out this year. Hellblade 2.
You can't have it on your list because the first one freaked you out.
It's because I just can't believe you guys didn't have it on
there. It's another one that I can't put it on my list because I still haven't beat the first one. I'm probably 10 hours into the first one. It's one I jump back into because it does have a creep effect. I mean, you throw those headset on, and you hear the voices. It's creepy, but it's so good. The gameplay is really good.
Well, I know
I have to take breaks from it.
I know I watched Russ play quite a bit of it, and it looks very interesting, but it just freaks me out. So
it's definitely a solid game, but when but when I bought it, I mean, actually you bought it. I didn't play it until almost 6 months after release, just because of the other titles. But then when I picked it up, I was like, man, this is really good. I mean, I'm probably 3/4 of the way through the game. I need to download that and probably finish it out. I can't imagine what it looks like because you know me, I'm the one of the group here that went from the flat old 1 all the way to the new Series X. So I took the big leap there. But compared to the games that we talked about, it's like, number one, it's slated for a 2021 release. I don't think it has a hard release. Number two, compared to some of these other games that we're like dying for extra, like Horizon and God of War and those titles there, it's there, but it's just not. I mean, we'll see how I feel after I finish the first one. Which I think I might just do that this weekend. I don't know. We'll see here.
Well, you got a PlayStation 4 game.
I'll be surprised if it comes out this year.
I mean, it's slated. They were anticipating by March of this year is the anticipation, but you never know how that stuff goes. So one of Nick's favorite titles, or I thought his favorite game series is actually coming out the end of the month that wasn't brought up. Hitman 3 is coming out end of this month. Nick, are you anticipating or looking forward to playing that one?
Kind of. I like Hitman. Yes. I really wasn't anticipating it, though.
Okay.
Because Hitman, for me, is one of those titles that I like and I enjoy playing, but it's not one that I look forward to, right? So I was looking for anticipation titles for this year, and that just didn't make my list because it's not one I'm looking forward to, right? It's like one I want to play, yes, but just it's not one that I'm like, I search for and I read about and stuff like that.
Gotcha. And then
it's one you expect what's happening. You already anticipate the tone of the game, the gameplay itself, because they've never really varied it a whole lot throughout the series, but they've always kept it updated enough to keep it fresh and fun.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. It's not one that I anticipate. It's just one that, when it comes out, great, cool. Yeah, another Hitman. Awesome.
Yep. And then I have one more on my list that's not really an anticipation, and I'll have 2 more that are like honorable mentions for after this one. But this one I think was high on Nick, your radar until we saw more trailers, and Deathloop was it. And I think you kind of lost interest in that one, didn't you, after that? Weren't you really looking forward to Deathloop? Or really pretty interested in it, and then the trailers kind of showed us something that you thought was different than what you were anticipating?
Yeah, and I saw Deathloop as a game, as a game coming out this year, and I don't know. I mean, it's made by Arcane, which I think makes the Dishonored series and stuff, which are pretty good games. I'm just really wanting to see how, and the reason why I think it didn't make my list is because I want to see more about it, right? I want to see how because there's supposed to be like, you can reverse time or something like that, where from what the trailers seemed like, you can reverse time and replay sessions.
Yeah, it looked like you almost replayed every scenario. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to know how that plays out and how that works in with everything, because it seemed to look from the gameplay trailers and stuff. It seems a little confusing with that. So I don't know exactly how that all functions together, and that's really what I want to see more of, to kind of make a determination if this is a game that I'm going to enjoy or not.
Right. Okay. Yep. I saw that was coming out in May of this year, and I was like, I remember you talking about that one pretty heavily, and then the trailers we saw a lot of the gameplay trailers, and I was like, really, this looks weird, and so I think that kind of killed a little bit of the hype for you.
Yeah, the gameplay trailers really just kind of like threw it off, off the scent, in a way, whereas like, what? I don't understand how this works. So, I mean, they didn't do a very good job of explaining how Deathloop exactly is supposed to function.
Right. I mean, these guys did, like you said, Dishonored 2, they did Prey, they did Dishonored, Death of the Outsider, and then they did 2 Wolfenstein titles. They did Youngblood and Cyberpilot. And then they did a game back in the day, a Might and Magic game called Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. I remember playing that one. So,
yeah.
So we'll see. We have quite a bit of titles, and then I have a couple on my list that were like high on my anticipation list, but they're TBD 2021, but like not really. And the first one is Diablo 4.
Yeah, I saw
it. That's 2024.
Right, but it's they've been anticipating that it was end of the year last year, and they didn't even make any announcement, not even at BlizzCon about it. So I'm almost thinking that Blizzard will pull a fast one and maybe do a BlizzCon this year and be like, and Diablo 4 is going to come out before the end of the year. That's anticipation. But that's just anticipation. And
I mean, that one is definitely anticipation, but I don't expect that anywhere. Maybe first quarter of next year at best.
Yeah, I mean, that's pushing.
I don't know. They haven't put out an expansion title in quite a while, and that's not normal for them for the Diablo series. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll find out, but it's like a slim to none chance game that I just, they announced it at BlizzCon in 2019, and Blizzard's not one to normally put out too much hype on a game too far in advance. I mean, that basically means that they put out this game they told us about this game and showed us an announcement trailer 2 years before, because that basically, if it doesn't come out this year, it'll be 2 years that they announce this game. We haven't seen the game. But, it is what they do sometimes. And then one of mine that's very highly anticipated, and I don't know, and I cannot explain why, because the only trailer that I have seen for this game doesn't show a whole lot, but for some reason it's got me hyped, and it's Starfield.
See, I was waiting for one of us to bring it up. I mean, you have more chance of getting a PlayStation this year than you get Starfield. I mean, but Starfield does look cool. But that game's been in development, 9 years? I mean,
I'm just ready. I want to play it. I don't know why. It just looks like it looks awesome. It's sci-fi space opera, and y'all know me. That's my jam right there. It's where I live in gaming. It's like my happy place for gaming. So
yeah, it does look really freaking cool though. I didn't put it on my list just because there's no way on God's green earth that thing's coming out this year. I mean that game's a myth wrapped in an enigma.
That the trailer doesn't even show you anything, but I'm excited to play it.
And that's what's bad is you got to be excited for it because there's so much in that little trailer that just makes you go, that's everything I've ever wanted right there.
And it's Bethesda.
Bethesda doing space.
Exactly. Exactly. Nick just nailed it. I was going to say it's Bethesda. So we have Elder Scrolls in space. So I'm like, I can't wait. Let me add it.
I'm good with it.
Yeah. So, but we all know Bethesda is too busy working on freaking Elder Scrolls and Fallout 76 right now. So because I think they're talking about
probably
Elder
have a
Scrolls 6.
small development team doing Starfield.
I hope it's that small team that's just left to their own demise and makes this awesome game. It's just amazing.
Yep. And, that's one thing I really want Microsoft to do is just leave them alone. Let them do what they do.
Right. So that was just where I wanted to pull out a couple out of the black ether that have very slim to no chance of coming out this year. I'm like, I wish that those would surprise me and just be like, and in holiday season of this year, be like, you guys just made my Christmas.
All right. So before this thing ends, I'm going to throw this one out here for everybody. What is one game that you would just kill to have this year? I mean, you had to pick one and only one that you would cut off a gonad just to have this year. What's that one game?
Out of the
Nick,
games
you're first.
mentioned?
Out of any game that's actually feasible.
Silent Hill.
Ooh, really? You would go that far for a new Silent Hill?
I'd love a new Silent Hill. Yeah.
I mean, don't get wrong. I do love me some Silent Hill. That damn radio going off always creeped me out.
I could miss a gonad for that. I'll eat him anyway. You can take both.
You take both.
He's got his kids. He doesn't need no testosterone anymore.
You know what? This is for Silent Hill, and here's the tip. All right, Pat, what about you?
Man, this is so bad because you know what I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick Mass Effect 5. Especially if BioWare gets to do what they want to do, I want Mass Effect 5 because Mass Effect 4 left off in a horribly crappy place, and I'm irritated. And I'm trying not to cuss on this one, but I am livid with how bad that one ended, and I want them to fix it and make it right. So, Mass Effect 5.
All right, Russinator, it's up to you, buddy.
So is this real or fictitious or whatever?
It has to be at least something that's in the realm of it's being developed. I mean, even though it got started yesterday, any game you want.
Then Ghost 2. Ghost of Tsushima 2. I mean,
they're probably working on it.
Well, that's what you just said there. I mean, you said in the possibility, in the realm of it being even remotely looked at, that would probably be it. But like, if it had to be something to be like anything in this world, I mean, a solid Star Wars RPG. Even bring out an open world like Ubisoft Star Wars, where you're learning to be a Jedi or something like that, or like a ghost version of a Jedi game.
I was going to say, Russ,
that
you
would be
tell
good.
them right there. They need to go and Sucker Punch needs to get an IP, some intellectual property for Star Wars and do a Star Wars based game.
Yeah, I mean, something of that nature would be awesome. I mean, that would be. Why I don't understand how it can't be hasn't been done yet. But I mean, that's my fantasy, like dream wish, if you're asking me. But the realistic portion is I wish that we could kick out another Ghost game. I mean that game there is just it's got to be a top 5 game of all time for me. If I didn't put it on there, I can't remember. It's been a minute. I've slept since then, but that would be amazing.
Oh, Pat gives us a net for Mass Effect 5. Russ, I can't blame it though, Russ. A Ghost of Tsushima 2 would be pretty fantastic. And Nick, I'm kind of surprised you give up a gonad for that game.
Nick likes to be scared. He's the masochist.
Silent Hill.
I know you do, but I'm really surprised that you would go that far for a new Silent Hill.
Or Parasite Eve.
Well, what would you do for a nut, Shane?
Literally what Nick just said. I would kill for a new console Parasite Eve game. I was playing Parasite Eve on my PlayStation the other day, and I forgot how much that game is so amazing. How they did so many cool things. You know, even though they were kind of cloning off Resident Evil, it was such an amazing game, amazing story. I would love to see them bring that back. And if I couldn't get that, Ghost of Tsushima 2. You know what? One nut for that, one nut for Ghost of Tsushima. Boom.
We could use a Good and
Okay.
Evil 2 coming out too. We should get that one.
Yeah, but I don't know how to feel about that one because they've just never really shown enough. We've had some trailers and that's it. And that's kind of worrisome when all you get is trailers. But
Cool.
another good one though that nobody mentioned when Series X was first announced, when they trailered up, was Everwild, that Rare game. It's that 4-player looking Breath of the Wild kind of thing. It looked pretty cool.
The one by
True.
Rare.
They only showed CG
Yeah.
trailers for that, so we don't really know how that game plays.
Yeah, but it's Rare and they do great stuff. They really do. Except for that freaking God, what was that one game that just disgusted me so bad? I can't even think of it now. But it's Rare, and they do make solid stuff overall.
So I want to give out an honorable mention. And it's an interesting game that looks interesting. I don't know how it plays out and how well it's going to be, but it's supposed to come out this year, which is 12 minutes. So we saw 12 minutes at some of the E3s. That's that top-down isometric, adventure game. It's kind of like a puzzle type game. In the trailers they showed like two people in a room, and they were talking, and then and then it like flashed back or flashed forward or something like that, and one of them was dead. And
Oh
it
yeah,
was
I
broken
see.
out.
Yeah, I found that
Yeah.
trailer. Yeah, I remember that. Now that does look pretty interesting. That's a good
Yeah,
mention.
that might be a pretty cool game. We'll
Yeah.
have to see, but I mean, they haven't
Okay.
shown a ton about that one, but the things they have shown, it might be a pretty cool like little puzzle game or something like that.
Right. And I think it's supposed to come out sometime this year. It was supposed to come out last year and it never did.
Right. Yeah, they have it slated for this year, so hopefully that comes out. I know a lot of people are anticipating that game. I guess there's some developer or something like that that's pretty well known. That's supposed to be making this game, so hopefully that's a pretty cool game. And I just wanted to throw it out there as an honorable mention because that has been thrown out there a few times at E3s, and people seem to really flock to this game. So hopefully it turns out to be something pretty cool.
It's got an interesting kind of description to it. It's like you play in 12-minute loops in the game. The game takes
and everything, and that's kind of what they showed in the trailer. Like after, I don't know if it was 12 minutes in the trailer, but they showed like a little snippet, and like two people were talking, and then the next snippet, like the glass window was broken out, and like there was a blood trail and stuff like that. So you don't know exactly what happened and stuff like that. So it's kind of an interesting, like maybe like a psychological or investigation or something like that type of game.
And it got an honorable mention in the for the Seamus McNally Grand Prize at the Independent Game Festival in 2016. So looks like it might be worth checking out. It might be one we review. It seems pretty interesting. It's coming out on Windows, Xbox One, and Series X. So maybe it'll be a Game Pass game for us.
Yeah, very well could be. I think it's
Yeah,
been on Microsoft's stage the last few E3s, so it definitely seems to be Microsoft's, not necessarily publishing, but they're showcasing that game. And usually when they showcase a game like that heavily, that's usually a Game Pass game in most cases.
It also looks like it's a one-man developer, one person developing this. Luis Antonio, who is a former artist from Rockstar and Ubisoft.
Well, right there screams talent.
Right.
So it might be a pretty cool game to look out for. So definitely an honorable mention. It's a game that might be worth checking out once it comes out.
Cool. Awesome. Anybody else got any honorable mentions or any other games they want to bring up before we put this one to bed?
I think we did a good job on covering those.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate everybody listening to this episode, and we hope to catch you in the next one.